Hello, friends. I'm thrilled you're joining us on the Prep Athletics podcast, and we have a bonus episode today featuring returning guest Dan McHale. Dan McHale is a former D1 head coach and D1 assistant, and we are putting on an event the Saturday morning of the Final Four in Indianapolis this year, and I brought Dan on so we could talk about it and then ask him some updates on what's been going on in the college recruiting world since our last talk. So thank you for tuning in, friends. Enjoy the podcast. Thanks for coming by. Welcome to the Prep Athletics podcast. This is Cory Heitz.
Some battles. I'm not sure if they got us. If they did, maybe.
So you will get better as a player during that year.
So it was kind of exciting. Like, oh yeah, somebody wants me.
Dan, welcome back to the podcast.
Cory, great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we had you on not so long ago to talk about your background as a head coach at the D1 level, assistant coach, and what you're doing now with helping families get their players placed into the college environment. But we've got an event coming up at the Final Four and wanted to get you on to talk about it. So why don't you tell us about the event and its inauguration last year down in San Antonio? Tell us how that went, the success stories were, and then we'll get into the one we got going on this year.
Absolutely. Well, we are in the thick of basketball season, high school, college, NBA, and it's a lot of fun. And teams are made in January, right? That's the old expression. So it's fun to watch. From my standpoint, right now we're in the thick of it with a lot of kids that we're working with to get them placed. But I'm excited to work with you and partner for our second annual CRC Final Four Showcase. Like you alluded to, last year was our first one in San Antonio. It was a massive success. We had over 65 kids in attendance. From all over, obviously a lot of Texas kids, but it was so much fun to work with them and get them in front of college coaches. And my whole thing was always, all these college coaches go to the Final Four. And as you know, the D2, D3, and AI level, there's no dead period. So for them, it's given them an opportunity to wake up and attend the Final Four festivities, but hop in a quick Uber and go watch some kids play. So we had a lot of fun. We had well over a dozen kids receive scholarship offers from that event alone, which was remarkable. And I think we made it kind of a one-stop shop for the college coaches to go see maybe some unsigned seniors or some guys that they can get on their radar at the younger level. So excited to work with you this year. We partnered, and we're going to have a great event in Indianapolis. Registration went live a little over a week ago, and I could tell you registrations are just pouring in. I fully expect to have close to about 150 kids in attendance. And then obviously, the 50 plus coaches, 60 coaches that come to watch them. It's just a great environment and a great opportunity for kids to be seen.
Yeah, and you talking about this last year is why I wanted to partner with you on this, because you've got it handled with the college coaches coming in. And now that you've done it the first year, right? This is the second year. So more people know about it. More people know about the talented players that came in last year. And this year, I'm biased and from Kentucky, but being in Indianapolis, you're going to have kids coming in from Kentucky, Indiana, obviously the surrounding states,
Chicago, Columbus. It's been awesome just to see a 3-hour radius where they can come from.
Exactly. And we put it out in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, join the Prep Athletics newsletter, but we put the sign-up sheet on there already. And the angle I'm helping with is we're getting prep school players who are either 9th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th, or postgrads that haven't signed yet, that don't want to do a college-style workout in front of these college coaches. We want to let them know this exists. So we've already got prep school coaches that are signing their kids up. Mind you, they're signing up now because this is in April, right? First weekend in April. And that's when the transfer portal is going on still.
Exactly.
So a lot of our placement for postgrads in the prep school world is happening now in April, May, even June. So these prep school coaches, especially those in driving distance, are going to come down. We've got prep school coaches coming in too. So yes, Dan has his connections for the college side. We're bringing prep school coaches in to recruit the younger kids for their rosters. So we're, if you're a kid in the area, even if you're not, fly in and get seen, because the whole name of the game is getting eyeballs on you. There's no guarantee what's going to happen, but then if you don't get the scholarship offers you want, Dan offers placement strategy for the college side. I offer prep school placement for the prep school side. So you're going to be in front of people that know what's going on, top of their game. Dan's going to be talking about his services and how he helps and what the reality is of the current market. I'll be doing the same on the prep school side, which people have heard me. If you listen to this right now, you've probably heard me say this 100 times already. But you've also got to adjust to the times. So that's another thing I want to mention aside from this event, which, by the way, in the show notes below will be signups for both coaches at the college and prep school level and for players. So like I said, we have got a lot of signups happening already. It's going to come faster than you know it. If you want to come from out of the area, you've got to get hotels for a Final Four city sooner than later. So this is not a fire sale used cars pitch. This is the reality of what's going on right now. So sign up for that quick and we'll have everything ready to go. So with that being said, we are trying to get kids placed, but since you and I last talked, a lot has happened, right? We now have G League players coming and guys that are NBA draft picks now playing in D1. One kid at Baylor, I know Gonzaga is trying to get another kid. Like, you seeing that as a former D1 coach, what are your thoughts on this just from a 10,000 foot view?
Look, it's the reality of it right now, whether I agree with it or not, whether coaches agree with it or not, it's the reality. So unfortunate, it hurts high school kids, right? Because now coaches have another pool they can dip into to get players. And the old adage, get old, stay old, is kind of what college coaches are thinking right now. So that being said, whether I agree with it or not, whether it's going to change, I don't know. But this is where we are in January of 2026. So right now, it's more important than ever for high school kids, whether there are 26 prospects, 27, 20, just to be seen, just to get exposure, just to listen to the right people. Between my background of coaching at the highest level, Division I, for over 20 years, and your background placing kids, and obviously successful college basketball player that you were, we know what it looks like, right? And we can give the advice to these kids and their parents that so often that other coaches or AAU coaches or whoever they seek advice from, they're not giving you the right advice. So big part of this showcase is, yes, I want these kids to have exposure and play in front of college coaches and go through a real Division I college workout that will put them through. But I'm going to talk to the parents. I want to educate the parents on what it looks like. And it's a lot different than it was 3-4 years ago. And it's going to keep changing and evolving. So parents need to be aware of what it takes for their child to play college basketball, whatever level it is. And we're here to help.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing I still hear from families, I don't know if you hear it too, is like, hey, little Johnny or little Sally just won the state title. Right. And they're kind of waiting around for scholarships because that used to happen in the old days, especially in Kentucky. You could have a team that made a run in the Sweet 16 there in Rupp Arena, and a player might come off the radar. Right. And 10 years ago, that kid could pick up a D1 offer. Right. It happened almost every year. Yeah, you former coach at East Kentucky can attest to that, and that happened in other states too. And those days are over. Right now, a D3 or NAI school might pick that kid up. Right. Unless he's a real special talent. So what are you seeing? Like, what are you hearing from families nowadays that you just wish you could take a hammer and say, that's not how it is. This is how it is. Like, are you hearing any same trends or stories from families or players?
I am. And it's unfortunate because, not to say the high school coaches or the AAU coaches don't understand the landscape, but they're giving them advice to, hey, just hang around. We'll get you something late. It doesn't work like that anymore. It really doesn't. So the more exposure they can get, it's really not about the level anymore, right? Everyone's journey is different. So listen, there are a handful of kids that should be playing Division I basketball, but the reality is it's only 13 scholarships, and you might have to go play D2, D3 and play well, and then see what happens a year or two from now. So everybody's journey is different. They can't panic, but they have to be proactive, right? And that's what I tell the parents. They have to be proactive in everything that they're doing. You don't want to self-promote your child, but you want to get them around the right people that are going to help navigate and open doors for them.
Is there a correct, if a parent wants to reach out to a college program or a player, what's the best bang for their buck?
Yeah, I mean, by all means, they can try to get in touch with them on social media. That really doesn't happen that often, especially in the middle of the season right now. College coaches, this is what they're thinking. Look, their rosters are fluid right now. They might have 2 scholarships open. They might say, you know what, we're going to use them both on transfers. That's just the reality. Or they're saying, look, our kids are playing pretty well. The reality is we're going to lose a couple kids because they're going to transfer out of our program. We might have 4 or 5 open in the spring. Open the lines of communications. We call it draft boards, right? Kids need to get on these coaches' draft boards, because as college programs come and get players, they lose players, they're going to want to see who's out there. So getting that exposure, having an advocate is the biggest thing. And that's what I think you and I talk about. Having a guy like myself with all the experience that I've had, having a guy like you pick up the phone and call these college coaches because you have relationships with them, that's who coaches are going to listen to. And they want to know that they can trust the source that it's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm a kid and I'm reaching out to a college, is it best to do it via email, via social media, have a coach reach out? Like, does it even matter to you as a former D1 guy, like what method you
Yeah,
get the communication
a
in?
little bit of everything, right? College coaches are on their phones too. They check their email on the phone. They check their Twitter accounts on their phone. So yeah, a little bit of everything. And not to get discouraged. The college coach might see it. He might not respond. A lot of these coaches won't respond. But being able to say, "Hey, I'm reaching out to talk to you about the potential of playing at your school." Uh, I also spoke with Dan McHale or Cory Heitz, who I'm working with. You might know them. That's going to be the buzzword, right? College coaches need the buzzwords, and they need to be able to. Okay, this isn't just you know Timmy from St. X High School reaching out. Timmy's reaching out, but he's also going through a collegiate service or a prep school service that has deep relationships that I know that I can trust.
All right, and walk me through this too. And this is pertinent to our event we got going on, but college coaches talk to each other, especially about
Yes.
players. Tell families how that all works.
Yeah, college coaches are constantly talking, whether it's about the next opponent, might have a similar, scout, or hey, what are you looking for in the next class? This is what I need. Who's out there, right? Everyone shares information. So the more you can get in front of college coaches, you might want to be able to go to, I don't know, Indiana. Indiana might not have that scholarship, and he might be talking to a coach at Ball State who say, you know what, there's a kid that reached out. He's pretty good. I think he could play at your level. Why don't you take a look at him? That's the way it works, and that's the way I recruited. You have your colleagues in the business. You want to know who's out there. You want to know who other coaches are recruiting, because if they don't have a need and they're going to pass them along to you, then go for it. So the more exposure, the more talking to college coaches, the better, because they're all going to talk and they're all going to try to help each other.
And this is a PSA for families out there. I know a lot of kids will say, "Hey, this school is reaching out, but I'm not getting back to them because I'm not interested." We don't know where that
Won't be.
assistant's going to be in a few months, right? So you
Exactly right.
always want to make sure you keep up good communication. Don't burn any bridges, no matter what the current situation is, because we just never know where that guy might be, and he might go to a new job and say, "Hey, I got this kid I
Yep.
knew from my old program. I think he's a good fit for us." And voila, that's happened many and many a times.
100%. I was at Seton Hall back in the day, and I was recruiting a couple kids, and next thing I know, I was in the Big Ten, and the kid was a Midwest kid, and he wanted to go to Minnesota with us, and it was a kid that I had been recruiting, during my time in the Big East. So again, that's just one example. There's many examples out there like that. So PSA to any kid out there or any family out there, all exposure is good exposure. Talk to as many coaches that you can. You never know what it's going to look like 6 months from now or even a year from now.
Yeah. Was there ever a player that came across you like via email or via a coaching recommendation that like you just passed on, didn't think he worked for you and then blew up?
Many
Was
times,
there
yeah.
one that got away? Yeah. Is there
Oh
one you
yeah,
can remember their story on?
there's a couple that I wish I had stayed in touch with that they could have helped us. So no, without a doubt.
Any examples you want to share? You want to keep that close to the heart?
I'll probably keep that one close to the vest. But
Okay.
there was a couple that once I became a head coach, I said, wait a minute, I remember this kid. I should have recruited him a little bit harder. So name of the game.
All right. For current high school seniors and juniors that want to play at the next level, like what can you give them as a prescription to focus on? Like even whether they come to the event, hire us or not, go to prep school or not, like
Right.
what are some like steps you can give them? Hey, make sure you're doing this and this junior year and then senior year.
Yeah, obviously, playing with the right program, right? Playing with the right travel club team or high school team, you always have to represent yourself the right way. You never know who's
Mhm.
watching, right? Anytime you step on the court, anytime you do an interview, anytime, you post on social media, you're filming an infomercial of yourself, right? And these days, this is what college coaches are look for. They can't make mistakes. They don't want to make mistakes. They want to understand the total package of the kid they're getting. So, obviously put your best foot forward is a crazy expression, but it's the truth. You always have to represent yourself in the right way. Be a great teammate. Be a kid that's going to be a great representation of the program. So, plan as many exposure events as possible, and not get frustrated. Times have changed. Kids were picking up offers, freshman, sophomore, junior years. That's not happening as much anymore because coaches don't want to really be tied down to a high school kid. That being said, keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. Everybody's journey is different.
Some colleges now D3 and even D1 are saying we will be a feeder school. We come to
Yep.
us, we'll help prepare you and then help you transfer up a level.
It's
What
the
are your thoughts
reality.
on that?
It's the reality. it's a good recruiting tactic for some coaches, because they say, look, we know we're not going to have you for 4 years, but you'll play 20 plus minutes a game, and then we'll see what happens, right? A little different from I recruit the kid not for 4 years, but for 40 years. I still have kids that I played for me that are in my life to this day, and I help them get jobs, whether it's in the corporate world or whether it's the coaching world. Not saying it's more transactional these days, but that's kind of the way the landscape is going, and kids need to know that, and coaches need to know that.
Absolutely. Who's your pick to win it all this year in the college ranks?
It's kind of wide open, right? It could be anybody. I think the SEC is obviously very top heavy. The Big East is top heavy. UConn looks really good. The Big 12 every night's a crazy one. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but it's going to be a great one. Duke looks really, really good. Could be anybody.
All right. And then
How about you?
for me, I hope Purdue makes it to the Final Four, because I think having that in Indy with Purdue
Yep.
would be kind of electric with the fan base. And they're good. I mean, they've been together for quite a few years. They've had the right transfer pieces. They've only lost one game. So I think I'd like to see them win. Will they win? I don't know. But my Wildcats are struggling at Kentucky, and then Air Force, we're really struggling. And West Virginia's doing not bad. So we have a family conference where everyone played, we kind of follow. But I'm putting my money on Purdue this year. So
I like it. Good pick.
All right. So for those that are listening to this right now, might not see the show notes, where can they go to register or learn more about this event, Dan?
Absolutely. You can go to www.crcathlete.com. And that takes us to our homepage, and there's a registration link on there. Like I said, we've been live for about a week, and we've already had close to 30 registrations. We are going to cap it. We have 3 courts. We're probably going to cap it at about 125 kids. So we fully expect that to sell out within the next month or so. And it's going to be a great event. Like I said, it's not just a showcase event. A lot of these are money grabs. That is the farthest thing we are. We're going to give the parents and kids advice about what it looks like in the recruiting landscape, put you through a great workout. Every kid's going to have a personalized jersey with his name and number on it. And the college coaches are going to have a packet, and it's going to say number 44, Cory Heitz, and it's going to list your measurables. It's going to list your contact information. And then the goal is to, if we had over a dozen kids get scholarships, I want to have close to 50 kids walk out of there talking to college coaches and have an offer. And that's the goal. And just to educate and have fun and do it in a fun environment. The Final Four, for any kid that's never been, is an amazing, amazing experience. I've been fortunate to take my son. I know you've been with your family. I think you said your dad is coming. It's just a great environment. Indy does a great job of hosting it. And it's just, our event is just going to be a small part of what should be a lot of fun that weekend.
Yeah, I went to my first Final Four 2 years ago in Phoenix when Purdue was in it with my cousin Brad, and it was my first Final Four, and everyone there was happy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like going to Disneyland, where everyone is happy, and if you're a hoops junkie like we are, it's Mecca, right?
It's awesome.
So it's awesome. All right. Well, Dan, thanks for joining us. Everyone, thanks for listening today to this short bonus episode of the Prep Athletics Podcast. If you have any questions, reach out to Dan or myself. Would love to see you in Indy. And we'll see you next time on the Prep Athletics Podcast. Have a good day.
Thanks, Cory.